everyone. I'm Lisa Parenteau, and I'd like to welcome you to Lifting Others as We Rise, the podcast where we dive into the world of real estate and the power of positive thinking. In each episode, we're going to bring you inspiring conversations with real estate professionals and other thought leaders who have really harnessed the power of lifting others up along their journeys. So let's get ready to elevate our mindset. Lifting Others as We Rise podcast, where inspiration is a catalyst for action. Let's go. Welcome to Lifting Others as We Rise podcast. I am your host, Lisa Parenteau, realtor, team leader, CRS, broker associate, but most importantly, Glama to Eloise Ann here on beautiful Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And I am thrilled to welcome you to our podcast and especially to this episode. Hold on, I am too excited. I know you're going to enjoy it. So get comfy, settle in, whether you're at the gym, if you're driving, maybe you want to pull over because you might be laughing too hard. I don't know. But my intention, as always, is to uncover, discover some inspiration from my guests, real estate leaders from across the country. And today, my special guest is Chip McAllister. Welcome, Chip, from sunny Southern California. I am so excited to welcome you. Chip, where do we start? Chip is a spirited team leader of the Chip and Kim McAllister Real Estate Group. Chip has done many things. Chip is an actor. Chip is an IT consultant, which I would not be broadcasting that in any case. I mean, I don't know who your sphere is, but that is not a good thing necessarily to be broadcasting because you will be called all the time. Chip also won the Amazing Race. I have so many questions. And then I got one other word, and we'll see how much time and how you can weave this in. The word is pickleball. Okay, so let's just Chip, welcome to the podcast. I can't wait to dig in a little bit. Tell us a little bit more if you want to give me a little bit more, but somehow Amazing Race. How did that, someone does not just pick up the phone and call Chip McAllister and say, hey, Chip, come on the Amazing Race. How did that happen for you?
Well, Lisa, first of all, I have to thank you so much for inviting me on the show. Your personality and your spirit is infectious. So thank you. We have to get that out of the way because I really appreciate you. I just have to say that the reason or the way Kim and I got on the Amazing Race was like everything else happens in my life. It's where 5 people came out of the woodworks. And like you said, Kim and I are not prototypical amazing racers because we don't do any of that stuff. We are admittedly the most bumbling knuckleheads to ever win anything, but we just loved each other through it all. And the way we won, it was just the grace of God because we were actually at the bottom of our lives. We were in bankruptcy and foreclosure.
Wow.
Because we had a business partner who cheated us out of a $35 million a year business that we started together. And we were at our bottom, and Kim and I just wanted to do something positive. So when those 5 people said, Chip, Kim, you should get on the Amazing Race. When the 5th person said it, we said, man, there must be something to this. Let's try. So we got on there, we fumbled our way through, and it was the absolute best experience we've ever had. And when people ask us, they say things like, well, after your marriage and after your kids, I'm sure Amazing Race is way up there. I said, oh, no. Amazing Race is way above marriage and kids. It was the best.
That is a rags to riches, but in a way that you probably thought, well, I got nothing to lose. I can't screw it. What can I screw up? Wow. So what was that like? Time period, production? I mean, I get a little unnerved watching a program like that, watching all of that go on. And there's a lot of espionage and intrigue that seems to happen, as well as the physicality of it. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, Lisa, just like in life, the way Kim and I live, I was in corporate America. I excelled and was doing super well. And Kim was too. She was a pharmaceutical sales rep. But in 1992, we quit corporate America to go into being our own bosses because we realized that we didn't want to get to be 65 years old and realize we didn't know each other. So it was like falling off a rock to make these decisions. As you said, you mentioned about 2% of what we've done in our lives, but we do everything together. And as long as we do that, we're just fine. And we attack it just like we attack everything else in life. And we believe that everything is the journey and not merely the destination, because we have to enjoy life. We fight for our happiness. If you looked at what's going on with all the political tension, the racial tension, if you looked at that, you just crawl up under a rock. But we choose to, and not with Pollyanna glasses, and I'm not sticking my head in the soil. I know what's going on, but I say I'm fighting for my happiness and for the happiness around anybody that comes near me. And that is how, because we're going to get around to real estate, that is how we do business, man. With the business we have now is so God ordained, because people come to us because they know us, like us, and trust us. And it's just because of, pretty much, I'm going to tell you, Facebook. We just put out how much we enjoy.
And you are having a good time on Facebook, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
You are having a good time on Facebook.
Like, this is not a dress rehearsal, Lee. Yeah. You do not have any dress rehearsal. This is life. So live it fully.
Yep. You know, one of my famous quotes, and it's been attributed to Tony Robbins, although a mentor of mine said, you can just say it's yours. You don't have to say Tony Robbins, because someone said it before Tony. And It is, you always have a choice. You always have a choice. And I love what you said about, listen, I know I get the New York Times every day delivered to my house. Do you think I don't know what's going on? But there's interesting recipes on a Wednesday also, by the way, because that's what the food section is there. Yeah. But I know what's going on. And I do live in a place in the country, as do you probably, that we're kind of more insulated than in some other parts of the country. But I choose to believe in our higher angels. I choose to do work that brings us together like this, total strangers, just sharing some time together, talking about things that inspire us, So speaking of Tony Robbins as one of my mentors, tell me a little bit about a mentor for you. Who has really served as an inspiring mentor?
Well, I've had a few mentors, and I don't take that word lightly. But now, just recently here, my mentor is the new brokerage that I just went to in February.
Okay.
Her name is Michelle Harrington, and she's a big deal out here in Orange County. And she's had her own smaller brokerages, and she's been climbing up the ladder. And there's this really nice restaurant in Aliso Viejo called Opa's. And Kim and I call it the Opa meetings. And when she was at different places, she's been trying to get us to join her teams or brokerages for years. And we've always said, no, not the right time. But now she just became CEO of the largest brokerage in Orange County, and it's called First Team Real Estate. And she came and she grabbed me by the collar. She didn't touch Kim. She knew not to touch Kim, but she grabbed me by the collar and she said, "You're coming with me. I'm making you an offer you can't refuse." And she talked to us and she said she wants my infectious personality, my love for people. She wants it all over her company. So that's why we just started the Chip and Kim McAllister Real Estate Group. And Michelle is throwing all of the first team artillery behind us. And we are doing better than we've ever done before. And it's just fun. And so Michelle Harrington.
So on a day-to-day, what is it about Michelle that you have seen as a mentor? Like, what are some of those qualities? What's some inspiration that she has brought to you and Kim and your real estate team?
Because I am, and when I say I mean Kim and me, but I am a people person. I know people, and this is bad, I'm going to get some hate. So get ready to hate now. A lot of people, I love animals too, but a lot of people put animals on the same level as people. No, a lot of people put all kinds of stuff on this. I love people. And Michelle Harrington is taking First Team, which was all about the dollars and all about the bottom line. And she has markedly made it all about the people. And she's changed things that even from the CRM, if she gets these CRMs that are too hard to understand, she just makes it so that people can understand it. And for me, if you can get someone, like you said at the beginning, someone who loves people, we can get through anything. And Michelle loves people.
Yeah. And I hear that through you. I hear like a renewed enthusiasm and excitement. And also, you talked about the journey being more important than the destination. And when you put things all in dollars and cents and bottom line and transactions and numbers and prospects, which a lot of places do. And I guess some people love that. I don't know. But when you turn it around and just talk about service
Yeah.
and you work from that service mentality and that servant mentality
Yes.
within our brokerages, I think that changes everything. I just got off a 3-hour summer of luxury presentation that we did at eXp Realty for our luxury team. And we offered the training that normally costs significant. We offered it free to all agents and agents within eXp just to get people excited about their ability to sell luxury. Because you know
Mm.
what? Anybody can do it.
Right.
Anybody can do it. You just have to train yourself about the materials, about the mindset, about the clients, and start to gain some self-confidence, So I think it's that people focus, that servant mentality is something that I can hear that inspires you and absolutely inspires me for sure. So tell me, let's go back a little bit about, you were talking about that kind of pivotal time when your business partner, $35 million business partner, when you guys had, I don't know what you want to call it, a fork, whatever you want to call that. But that was a catalyst, I imagine, in your life and a challenge that helped you build resilience and kind of determination. Can you talk a little bit about how that changed your and maybe your and Kim's focus and orientation? In terms of the catalyst, because that's part of what we try and pull from our podcast is think about things that our listeners can actually pull from and utilize this afternoon and tomorrow.
Yeah. From that point, we knew everything we thought we knew. Well, we thought we knew everything. However, when we lost everything, that is when it was pretty much some of the best times I've ever had in my life, because I saw that when I had everything, I was not as happy as I was when I realized who was still in my corner when I didn't have anything, who was there for me to say, I had this one friend who came over to my house, and there was about 2 minutes, no, really about 2 days, where I was so messed up, I didn't even feel like getting out of bed because the guy who betrayed me was like a brother to me. And he came, he knocked on the door, and Kim told him that I was sleeping. He ran up the stairs and jumped in my bed and said, "Get your big old butt out of the bed." And he said, "Look at this, man. We are friends." And he put $1,000 in my hand. He said, "That's your walking around money. You better never bring this up again, because this and that $1,000, man, that was $1 million at the time." And I had friends like that, man, friends who were there in my corner and who are friends to this day. So Kim and I, if you're asking what did I learn from that, it's like I remember back when I was younger, the worst person I've ever been when I was an actor back in the early 80s. And I got a CBS TV series, and I was a snob. I was hanging with Larry Hagman from Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah.
I was hanging with Tom Selleck from Magnum PI because our show came on right before that show. And I was, what my dad reminds me, I was a butthole for the only time in my life, is because I couldn't handle success. So I found out what it was like. I'd never want to be that person again. And then I found out how people were in my corner. So now it built me into a man to have compassion for people, look at the content of their character, look at the love that I have for them. And I have this one motto that came out of it. I can deal with people with problems all day long. I just can't deal with problem people.
Mm.
So I just don't allow that in my life. If you want to exist in my airspace, we have to be positive and loving. And I can say, and that's the beautiful thing I learned too, I'm a likable, lovable guy. And I used to be ashamed to say that because that's kind of pompous just to say that. But the reason I can say it is because I genuinely love people. I love to be around people. So why should I be ashamed to say I am? I get what I give. And if you can't, I'm telling you right now, something's wrong with you if you can't receive or give love to me. Because I'm that sounding board for love. And now, as far as real estate goes, I used to when I was struggling as a realtor, I didn't believe when people said it, but I sincerely just work with sphere of influence people, and I am as busy as I want to be right now because people who know me, love me, and know Kim, love her. We get calls at least once every other day to do some business with them. And that is a blessing from God.
I just love that. It so often happens in these conversations with leaders that the abundance mentality and the law of attraction continues to be such a strong force in our lives that when we stop chasing money and stop chasing fame and stop chasing success, Tony Robbins talks about it being one of the 6 human needs, significance. And it's there. We need significance, but where are you getting that significance from? Right? It's a strong driver. It's a strong driver for, I think, most of us in leadership. Significance is a strong driver, but is the significance to make a difference or is the significance to be recognized and be famous, right? And when you stand in that, as you were saying, when everything else fell away and it was just you, and you were able to be who you were and to love and to do well by others, that you started to attract those kinds of clients. And the friends were already there and the other ones dropped away. And not everybody gets to find themselves in that place. Tell me a shortcut. So you went through some real tumultuous situations to get to that place. Can you offer us a shortcut?
The shortcut would be what I alluded to earlier. Fight for your happiness in every situation. I only go by design. I only go where I'm celebrated and not merely tolerated. I do not think that a person should, I don't believe in tradition. And I'm going to say something now that I didn't think I'd be ready to say, but I don't believe in that working a job 9 to 5 for 40, 50 years and retiring and getting a gold watch and you take a vacation 2 weeks a year. No, I don't believe in that at all. Another thing I don't really believe in, and I'm a college graduate, I have my college degree and everything. I don't believe in college. That's just, but I can say it because I'm a college graduate. Man, no, I believe you should, I believe people should just be upstanding people who learn their trade, learn what they want to do. And if they enjoy school, college is for you. I didn't enjoy college. I graduated from college when I was 38 years old.
All right.
The only reason I graduated, not the only,
the 20-year program.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The main reason I graduated is because one time when my son was a little boy and he found out I graduated from Dorsey High School, which is the greatest high school in the world, and his mom graduated from UCLA, he went, "Dad, does that mean mommy's in a higher grade than you?" And I went,
Uh-oh.
"Hey." And I said, and then at that time, I was thinking my kids should go to college and all that. So then I said, I went and got my college degree. But college, I feel that is not as important as setting up your successful life with appreciating people, appreciating God, appreciating not loving money. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I love that. And you were talking about your son a little bit. Share a piece of advice with us that you love to share, that you shared with your son, probably that you maybe share with other agents you work with. Because I imagine, I understand you're almost a serial volunteer like I am. Do you serve the California Association of Realtors?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I serve at the local level, the state level, and I also serve at the national level. I'm a vice chair of a national committee. So yeah, I mean, I'm a serial volunteer from way back too. So I think we have that in common as well, sir. So what's a real significant piece of advice that you have received, but that you also love to share?
What I've said already is, and I can say it 100 more times, and when somebody's ready to hear it, it'll change their lives. You have to fight for your happiness. And when I say that, not in a selfish way, I would not be happy if I'm the only one winning. My wife, when we play pickleball, she knows how many games she lost, knows how many she won. I don't even know. Or now, when I get into a real tight game, of course, I want to win. I'm not a loser, but I'm a bigger winner when everybody's having fun. When it is the best pickleball time and when we're drinking the margaritas and dinking and drinking, that's the great time for me. Now, I do like to win better than I like to lose.
Of course.
But the thing that I would tell my son, and I've told him his whole life, and my daughter, I have 2 sons and a daughter, I tell them, I say, you have to enjoy life. And that joy comes from making every situation you go into, your goal is to make it better. You will accept if the situation is the same when you leave as when you came, but you refuse to go into a situation and that situation is worse because you were there. You don't ever want to have it when people, when they see you coming and go, oh God, there's Lisa. Oh, there's Chip. No, man.
You absolutely want to leave things a little bit better than when you got there. But, you also bring up an interesting point, and I'll just have you touch on this as we wind down. Fight for your happiness. You've mentioned it a few times, but inherent is understanding what it is that makes you happy. I had a very interesting insight pretty recently. I used to always say, and I use the quote on my email signature sometimes, whatever, that the Dalai Lama said the purpose of life was to be happy. And I believed that. But I recently heard, and now I'm holding closer in my heart, that the purpose of life is to be useful.
Ooh.
Because when I think of it, when I'm useful, like that's a big piece of who I am. When it feels useful, I feel happy. So part of that fight for your happiness is really identifying what makes you happy. How do you continually define that and redefine that, Chip?
Lisa, you hit the nail on the head. I can't be happy unless I'm useful. I can't be just insignificant. I can't, whenever I hear and I find out that these 2 young people are together and they're newlyweds and they just got married, I'm forcing myself in there. I'm telling, okay, you're just gonna have to listen right now. You have 2 minutes, you're gonna listen. And I tell them, the first tip, and if any young people are there, I'll tell you the one key to getting through the first 7 years. And 7 years is that big.
Itch. Yeah.
Okay. And the one key information is to argue, because you're going to argue. So let the argument happen, but don't carry it to the next day. You carry positive things to the next day. You don't carry negative things to the next day. So the thing that really rings true for me in Fight for Your Happiness is not only for myself. As a matter of fact, it is a selfish reason I want to be happy, is because I want to be treated the way I treat people. So it's all, I know this is the wrong word, but it's self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know if that's the right thing, but it's just perpetual. It's a boomerang effect, but it's good, and it's good for all. So that's what I live by.
Paying the positivity forward always. So
with my team that I'm building, those are the only people who could be on my team. You don't have to, you could be a brand new agent. You don't know anything about real estate, but you have to want to matter, want to be positive, want to be a part of a team, want to be happy, want to have fun, want to celebrate the smallest win, and don't dwell on the negative. That's what's important to me. And my clients, I used to be scared of those clients who would be, I don't feel good unless I get the best deal and the other person on the other side is hurting. You know what? Guess what? Sorry about that, but we cannot work together. And I've told that to one of my friends. I had a really good friend, Lisa. I'll even say his name. His name was Fareed, and he's one of my best friends, and we were great. But that's the kind of way he used to do business. I said, Fareed, we'll never do business together, because when you do business with me, I want you to know I'm doing such a great job for you that you're happy I'm making the money that I should be making. I don't, my clients don't ever come back and say, well, what can you do with your commission? I say, because when they ask me that, I keep my commission. That's what I do with it. But he finally needed something and he worked with Kim and me once. And then that guy, wait, look who's interrupting me. Hold on for a second.
Uh-oh.
Alexa,
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Kim.
stop. No, she's giving me my AMC update. I get that at 1:20 every.
Oh, that's funny. I
But
thought Kim was
Fareed is
gonna
now one
photobomb
of
us.
my Fareed is now one of my best clients because we work together. He's looking for deals. He wants me to make my money because he's even happier working with somebody doing a better job instead of nickeling and diming. It's a happier life.
Yeah. I mean, and that's harder when you're a new agent, when you're an agent working with new agents, and really continue to try to stress that you have a choice about who you work with. And you don't have to wait for a certain level of success before you can decide to work with people that you like to work with, because that's not fighting for your happiness.
Right.
As you were saying, for sure. Well, this has been an absolute joy, Chip. I just love doing this podcast because I get to spend a little bit of time with some amazing human beings across the country. You are amazing. The things that you're doing, the positivity that you're bringing. I'm going to remember fight for your happiness and how important it is for us to continue to identify how we can be useful and feel happy, and know that in that we are spreading that. We're walking in that and we're spreading that sunlight. And you have sprinkled that on my afternoon today, Chip McAllister. So thank you so very much. This has been an absolutely magical podcast. I know our paths will cross again soon, maybe in Boston, if you're going to come to the NAR.
Well, no, Lisa, you're a little bit above me now. I just got. I'm on the state level now. They're talking about me for the national level soon, and then I'll see you. No,
But you can come to conference in November in Boston.
right. Oh, as a matter of fact, Kim and I were considering that, and we will
Please come.
definitely. Can we have a drink together if I come?
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right.
All
I'm
right.
there.
I'll introduce you to a couple people.
Whoa, okay.
Oh,
All
no.
right. Do you know Kevin Brown?
Of course I do. Actually, yeah, mention Kevin because yes, I do know Kevin Brown.
That's my boy, man. We really hooked up. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Great. And Kevin Sears, our national president, is from Massachusetts. So
Wow.
he's a great guy. Yeah, really great guy. So, in conclusion, as we're kind of winding down here, Chip, I want to ask you something that I try to ask most of my guests. And that is, what is the best, most uplifting compliment you have ever received? And then tell us why it was so uplifting for you.
Wow, Lisa, that is putting you on the spot. Let me see the best compliment. Lisa, I don't know if this is a compliment, but I'm going to say it, okay?
All right. It's right.
It's something that changed my life. It's when Kim and I were like newlyweds and I was an actor and the money wasn't coming in. And I said, babe, I think I'm going to cut back and quit acting school. And she looked at me and she said, oh my God, I've been praying for that for 2 years. And I went, what? You've been praying for that for 2 years? What? I thought we wanted to be a star. Why didn't you tell me? And my wife looked at me and she said, babe, I would never take your dream away from you. That has to be your decision. That right there solidified her as my queen. Before that, she was my wife. That moment solidified her as my queen. So that's the biggest life-changing statement anybody's ever made.
Well, that is really beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mr. Chip McAllister. And thank you so much for sharing your heart with us. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. And that is our podcast, Lifting Others as We Rise, for today. Thanks again, Chip.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on another absolutely amazing and inspiring episode of Lifting Others as We Rise. I hope you will calendar some time to consider some of the things that we talked about today. The biggest one, and something that Chip repeated over and over again, was fight for your happiness. You got to fight for your own happiness. So what does that mean? What is it that makes you happy? I know for me, as I mentioned in the episode, it's finding ways to feel useful, or I realize that that's something that I strive for, that to be useful makes me feel significant, makes me feel fulfilled, and makes me feel happy. What are those things that make you feel happy? Are there things in nature, your hobbies, family time? Those are the things that are going to feed your soul so you can walk in the world from that happy place and then share that everywhere. He also talked about the importance of the journey and not the destination. And we've heard that before on the podcast, but it bears repeating again. So think about, let me know in the comments, what is something that really makes you happy, and how do you fight for it? How could you fight for it more? I'd love to hear your insights. Please subscribe, rate the episode, leave me your comments. And until the next episode, keep the positivity flowing. And remember, when we make an effort to lift others up with intention, we all rise together. This is Lisa Parenteau signing off from Lifting Others as We Rise. Take good care. Thank you for joining us on another amazing episode of Lifting Others as We Rise. I hope you make sure to follow through on today's Catalyst for Change. If you enjoyed today's insights, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback really does matter. Stay connected for more uplifting conversations, because remember, when we lift others up, we all rise together. So until the next episode, keep the positivity flowing and keep lifting up others around you. This is Lisa Parenteau signing off from Lifting Others as We Rise. Take good care.